What's good, folks? What it do? What it do? Team No Sleep. December 21st, 2022. Montel, what's up with you, brother?
Man, blessed as usual, man. Glad to be here.
In the
Seen another
building.
day.
Yeah.
Almost hit that trip around the sun one more time, as far
One
as
more
the
again,
calendar
huh?
year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
as far as
getting
the
old.
calendar year. So
Man,
we good.
I don't
We
know
good.
about you, but listen, I'm getting younger. You getting older out here in these streets, brother.
Nah, man, sure. I think I got the fountain of youth.
Nothing,
At least, a little bit, a little something.
nothing wrong
Oh,
with that.
never mind.
Nothing wrong with that.
Uh,
Listen, folks,
our guest said, could you send him the link? Could you send him the link?
we, I sent them to tell him check his email. Tell him check his email. I'm not even. It's the same link that we sent last time.
I
So
know, I know.
I'm not even going to announce anything until the brother show up. Listen,
Yeah,
folks. You
yeah.
know what we do? Team No Sleep. Social impact of sport. Me and Montel get together. Seeing everyone in the comments. Hold on. Someone got turned. Jim, hold on, brother. I'm gonna take care of that. It look like the bots got you, man. The moderation bots got you, man. Keep talking, man. It's all good. I'm gonna bring you back. Don't be
Yeah,
scared
yeah.
of the automation there. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead and get started, man. We got a handful of stories, and I don't want to delay around here, but today is a sad day for me, my Steelers fans, for NFL, for sports fans, just in general. If you just if you are a human being and then you value life. This man right here, Franco Harris, we lost him today at the tender age of 72. He's one of the reasons why I'm a diehard Steeler fan, right? Not just because of the Immaculate Reception, which is, so I even wrote this down today. The Immaculate Reception happened on December 23rd of 1972.
Wow.
And we
Wow.
lost him today on the 21st. Right.
Wow.
So darn near the
Yeah.
anniversary of, and that was his rookie year.
Yes.
He made
Yes.
that catch, which some folks say it wasn't a catch because they thought the ball fell. But you know what? Listen, he picked the ball up in the air and he ran it back for a touchdown. But that was Franco's rookie season, the Immaculate Reception. Tell me what you think about when you saw the news this morning, man. And we don't have to go too far into it, but I just kind of with context
Um,
around this.
man, just we lost another legend, right?
Yeah.
The football gods got blessed, but we lost another legend here on earth as far as the way he played football, his style he played. I think what I remember about Franco Harrison, especially as I got older, one of the most classiest players. He was very classy,
Mm-hmm.
and his demeanor, the way he held himself. Um, as great as he was never people never held him to the best running back in the league or the best ever. He was, but he was his stats show he was always in the top 10 or the top 15 for sure on what he did. He won 4 Super Bowls. Anybody that wins four anything nowadays would consider him the GOAT.
That's
His
true,
name
right?
wasn't really mentioned. Yeah, it wasn't mentioned in those things, and he always handled it with class, man. I just remember him always been a classy guy in his interviews. Always had that trim beard. Couldn't tell what how he
Listen,
was and everything. He had
look
that
at him.
curly hair and he was just a good dude, man. From what I've seen, man. I never got a chance to meet him, but he was one of the great ones, man. And I know he was a big ambassador to the game.
True, that's true. Listen, he was the consummate gentleman from everything that I've heard, and then of course everyone chiming in today with their recollection. I saw Heinz Ward, I saw Big
Mm-hmm.
Ben talking about him today, and a handful of other folks, like Chris Berman, right,
Yeah.
from ESPN, really started his career because of what Franco did, because that year was really the year that ESPN really took off, talking about
Mm-hmm.
live sports news,
Yeah.
and that Immaculate Reception was again one of the main events there. So Chris Berman really got in deep from his recollection. So you're right, man. It's just a sad day, but let's remember the good times. Let's remember the good
Yeah.
stuff that he
Yeah.
brought to the game, right? Especially
Yeah.
for all of us with the
Yeah.
terrible towels. I'm glad I didn't burn them all. I still got one terrible towel here.
You know what?
So
You know what's funny? It was funny. So we know they got Najee Harris, right? But this is
yeah.
the guy that set the bar for Najee Harris, right? In the
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh family. Like
Yeah.
you got to live up to the Franco Harris's to be the great ones, and then Jerome Bettis, and then
Yeah.
Najee Harris is this guy that's coming up. I
That's
think
true.
within the great running backs they have in this in the Pittsburgh Steelers organization.
I tell you what, listen, we got another football player, retired, ex, we got a coach. We got someone else here sitting in the back room. This brother finally showed up, and I'm gonna talk madness about him for a minute. But ladies and gentlemen, uh, Kelly Smith, come on, talk to me, man. You show up on National Signing Day. Okay, so that because you know we got something good to say about Oregon. So you show up on National. Ladies and gentlemen, Kelly Smith, how you doing, brother?
You're on mute.
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Awesome, man.
Good, good.
Awesome. You know, just waiting on you. You know, we trying to start the show. We've been waiting on you here. We got fans and people in the community saying, "Where Kelly at?" You know, but then again, you show
Yeah.
up on National Signing Day, and that's all right though.
Yes, sir.
I'm kind of it sounds like it's kind of lagging a little bit. Do you guys hear me clearly?
Yeah,
Yep.
we
hear you.
got you. We got you clear, man. So again, thanks for joining, man. We were just going
Okay,
over
good.
the Franco Harris situation, and again, you were in the league, you know
Yeah.
the league. Tell for folks who may not know who you are, the 35,000 foot level. Really quick introduction. I know we had you on the show before, but we got a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new supporters. Give them the pitch in terms of who Kelly Smith is, and then your thoughts, if you can, on the loss of Franco Harris today.
Well, first, let me start with Franco. You know, that's just a huge loss, and he was always just a guy that seemed like he was always just so happy. Never
Mm-hmm.
got into too many altercations. We never heard about any domestic violence or any drug abuse or anything like that. So from that perspective alone, he was a model citizen, something that, you know, all of us want our daughter to date,
Mm.
if you will. You know, he was good of a person. And, you know, for me, you know, born and raised in San Diego, got drafted in two sports. You know, baseball was my father's love, so he pushed me in baseball. I was able to play minor league baseball for 2.5 years, and then ended up going back to my love, which was football. Went back to Grossmont Junior College for 2 years, Oregon 2 years, and I got 6 years of pro ball in. And when I retired, I had told my junior college coach that I wanted to get into coaching, and he was the first one that gave me an opportunity to coach at Grossmont Junior College, and the rest is history. So I've been coaching and mentoring kids, and you know, picking Montel's brain. Man, the boy is sharp. Man, he does a good job of what he's doing as far as understanding the NCAA and all that type of stuff. So if I don't have the answers, 90% of the time, I'm going to find the answer, and I want
I
to make
love
sure
it.
I'm giving back the right information. So I'm getting into, you know, event planning and making sure we're, you know, doing things correctly, and it's going pretty good.
Love it, man. Love it. Listen, we're going to do similar to like we did last time when you're here. We're going to go through a handful of stories that may not necessarily be on the front page of the news, but again, they're social impacting stories, and would love to have your perspective on them as well. Um, First story was about Franco. This next story right here, man, is an interesting story, which I don't know, man. Okay, TSU running back. This young brother out here, Devin Starling. Okay, we've all been to college. We've all
Um,
had a gang of folks around us. We've had our squads. We've had this man had the director of football operations at TSU and his current girlfriend arrested for fighting over him. This brother is
oh
out here.
wow, I
Yeah.
missed that.
So this straight off. This is hot news right here. This is straight off the press. So long story short, I'm gonna
Okay.
summarize this. The man had his current, and I was sitting here trying to draw it on the board while I'm looking at the story. He had his current girlfriend with him in the car or in his apartment, and then the director of football operations for TSU came by the crib, saw that they were together, ended up ramming the car while the two were in. It turned into just a whole mess of a situation. And the two ladies are in jail. He had them both arrested. So he's out here running the streets while he get. And if that's not the worst of it, the young lady who was the director of football operations also had another affair, an encounter, a relationship with someone else on the squad. I mean, someone else on the within the office, right at the TSU office. The challenges and the
Ooh.
reason that why we're talking about this, not just because it's a love triangle, but the folks in the office at TSU knew about this. The folks in the TSU
Mm.
office knew about this relationship between someone on the administrative staff and a player. Right, it was reported to him. It was
Mm.
brought to him a number of months ago, but it was shunned away. It was not dealt with. Talk to me, man, about this. Right, just that whole ramification, again, all the things that are going on, the optics of, again, someone on the staff, someone at a director level, and a student having a relationship, you know about it, it gets brought up to, the boss, and the boss decides not to do anything about this, man. What do you think about when you hear that piece of this story? It's
It
crazy,
goes
right?
back
Go
to the
ahead and say,
Boston
man, it's crazy.
Celtics. It's crazy. It goes back to the Boston Celtics story. Like when Matt Barnes and those guys started getting
Okay.
on Instagram Live and talking about these type of stories, like it happens a lot in the workplace, and a lot of times it never reaches the surface. So this right here is just another one of those stories that's happening in the organization. It happened to reach social media. Somebody caught wind of it, and now we know exactly what's going on at TCU.
Well, TSU. Get
TSU. I'm
the
sorry,
schools right, man. Come
TSU.
on, yeah, don't mess up. That's just like me and
Hey,
you talking ducks and
they'll quote
beavers,
me and
right?
put it on
That's
there.
just like me and you talking ducks and beavers. Let's get them right. But
My bad, TSU.
Montel, your thoughts on this, man? Because again, this is another situation where you would have thought there would have been some oversight, right, from the administration saying that this is a no, you don't do this when they know about this, but yet and then it gets found out about. It turns into an altercation. It turns into vehicular, whatever, not homicide, but lady using her vehicle as a battering ram, and now it's all in the news, and now here we are talking about it on Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, I think that my biggest concern is that like this is a bad eye on Eddie George's program, right? He's a head coach there.
Yeah,
this is kind of a black eye on his thing because of the administration is going through this with his players. It doesn't set a good example as far as probably alumni is concerned or people that are investing in the program. It kind of gives it a bit like stain. It makes the climb for Eddie George and TCU program to kind of grow. This is one of them entanglement things, man. I mean, guy had the guy got a girlfriend, dude. He's got he's messing with somebody that's in the administrative office, and then everything kind of got caught up. I mean, I like I said, I feel more bad for Eddie George trying to have to clean this up,
right?
More so than anything else. The cleanup right. That's worse than anything because he has to clean this up. He has to address it with his player. The director of football operations is probably going to get let go, fired. And it's not because of the affairs, because of the assault, because they're adults. Exactly. But I think because she ran in the assault, she'll probably get fired. His girlfriend now will probably have a record because she assaulted her because she got out, started fighting the girl. I mean, now it's like a big old triangle. And the player, I don't know how you address him. Is he squeaky clean? Do you suspend him? What do they do? And that's a slippery slope, too, because if he's a very talented player and you suspend him, you affect his draft status where he can go around and turn around and sue to school. If he doesn't get picked up, if he's that kind of guy. So, and now with the XFL and USFL, the same thing. If they suspend him, he can say, "Well, you jeopardize my option to go pro, play professional ball." So, I think Eddie George is in a catch-22. He doesn't. I mean, actually not a catch-22. He's in a bad situation to kind of clean this thing up. Is where I'm looking at it. And I don't know I really don't know what the answer is going to be. But I mean, if you say good, any publicity is good publicity. They got it at TSU now.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hear all that, and so Cheryl is talking about sounds like a TMZ segment. Some of the stories we got tonight, we got some TMZ videos, so pause on that. We got some things to talk about, and you're right. The main thing about this is that it's just a bad look for the program. Again, Eddie George is out there trying to do the right thing with this organization and with this team, and to have breaking news of something that doesn't even entail his team in a positive light. Now he's got to deal with this, right? Because he got to go clean this up. And one of the communities that, it's just a community out there in Tennessee that's pretty tight knit, very small. It's a college town, college atmosphere. So everyone at the coffee shop knows about this. Again, it's just a distraction that unfortunately they got to deal with, man.
You know what else is kind of bad on this? It trickles down. It's like it's another stain on the HBCU, right?
Yeah.
Dion leaving, kind of like a stain over there. We're figuring out what happened in the backgrounds for that, and then now Eddie George, another and a former NFL famous coach, now he has to deal with this as another stain. And right when it seemed like HBCUs are turning the corner, it's like now they're getting these black eyes again, which is kind of unfair on their part. But I hope they can get it all worked out. From what I understand, I know Eddie George. I heard he's a hell of a coach there. I heard he's doing a really, really good job. I heard he's really putting together another staff. He's not the personality as of a Dion, but he still did it. From what I understand, he's doing a really good job. I'm hoping he can continue to somehow build off of this and clean up the situation.
Right.
It's crazy, man. It's great, folks. Listen, I see you in there. I'm behind the scenes doing all kind of things, making sure it's right. Because listen, I didn't know Achilles was gonna make it tonight. So yeah, I'm gonna put him out there on Broad Street like that. So I'm literally building the show right now, right? You know, behind the scenes. Every time I go off camera, I'm I'm back here doing some
Hey,
things.
I deserve it. I deserve it.
Had the fans post their questions. I know they got questions for Achilles. They can post their questions for him as well.
Well, Jim's back here. You know, he's back here heckling, but in a good way. He said, "Tell Achilles get that reliable T-Mobile 4G LTE." You know, he's talking bad about
I know, man. This is driving me crazy right now, man. Acting like an Obama phone.
You know, oh, see,
I ain't
you
got
know,
no
out there
Obama
on
phone.
Boost Mobile. You out there on Boost. And first of all, turn your camera if you can. Landscape. You got it vertical right now, man. You know, we shooting video. You know, we definitely in the there. God, so look at him.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh shoot, sucky, ladies and gentlemen, Achilles Smith right there, the man who put Oregon
All right, so we getting somewhere now
on the map.
Yes, sir.
And that will never get taken from you, brother. That the man who put. Even though I'm a Beaver, I'm still give you your just due. I'm gonna still give you your just due. All right, let's.
You know
go
what's
on
interesting about that is that you just
go ahead.
You know what's interesting about that is like I appreciate that because a lot of people don't give you your respect for your body of work and everything that you did for a certain program, man. So that's serious for me and my family.
We're gonna talk a big time. I got some talks about that one too. I got some comments about you.
Well, go ahead. Let's go ahead and interject, man, because the other stuff that we got is unfortunately a lot of negative news. But let's start with some positive for once this time.
I would say with Achilles, I don't tell him too much all the time to his face, but I tell people all the time. I think I'm very appreciative, one, to know him, and that the football player that he was. I think he catches a lot of slack because people envision his career to be they thought what they wanted it to be, and unfortunately, maybe it didn't turn out that way. But he set the tone. He set the tone for the new wave of these two-way quarterbacks. He put Oregon on the map. He made Oregon a national powerhouse name. To be honest with you, you know, before Achilles, Oregon wasn't even mentioned in those realms, and he went there and did it. And his body of work from high school to JC to Oregon to the NFL. I mean, man, you got to understand, this dude was the elite of the elite. He was the guy. He was that guy sitting on that podium up there, nominated for the Heisman Trophy. And I don't think people appreciate the numbers you put up that year. Like that, those numbers are amazing to this day. Those stats right now are comparable to some of the dudes what they're doing today. And people don't give you enough just due. And I think, regardless of what the NFL wants to say, you're one of the greatest college quarterbacks ever, and especially in that 2-year span. So I think they need to give you your roses, in my opinion.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. As you get older, that stuff starts to become more and more important to you, especially when you're mentoring kids and then all they do is get on the phone and they'll just type your name in on Google or on YouTube. And then there's some negative things up there, right? So that starts to develop a perception in their mind as opposed to sitting down and talking to that person about his career and what he did and how difficult it was to be successful. You know, even some of the kids when I was coaching back in the community, in the Southeast community, you know, I caught a little slack back then. They talked about my career and some of the decisions that I made. But those same kids that then had an opportunity to go to the Pac-12, to go to the Mountain West or whatever, when their careers was over and they came back, all they said was, "Dang, coach, I can't believe you did it. You was a first rounder." So until they go through it, they don't really understand it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're dealing with some of these youngsters.
So okay, let's stay with that, man. Because we can get into this other stuff later, but again, we want to dive into that while we got you specifically here. And Montel, I'll let you chime in, man. So Achilles, I mean, you've got the quarterback camps and training going on right now, and you're mentoring a lot of young cats that are out there looking to go to the next level with their game. How is that? What is that conversation that you have, right? Again, from someone who has been there, done it, had good and bad, and you know, seen all sides, got the money, lost the money, on the podium,
Yep.
right, winning games, losing games, just have been through that entire gamut in terms of what it's really like. Not reading books and not just watching film, but you were actually part of that, and you were again on that short list of truly elite athletes at your position. How do you have a conversation with someone coming from high school who says, "Listen, I can do what you did better," or "I'm the next," right? And people need to respect me, especially in today's NIL world.
Yeah, nowadays, and Ken Anderson told me this a long time ago, and I really didn't understand what he was talking about. He said, Akili, you have to live the lifestyle. And I kept looking over at him during the meetings. I said, man, what is he talking about? Akili, you have to live the lifestyle. And then again, I look over like, man, what is he talking about? So it didn't take me until like 10 years after I retired to finally start to realize that the lifestyle that Ken Anderson was talking about was, how do you approach every single day when you wake up? Right.
Mm.
At that time when I was in the league, I did a lot of partying in the off season to get away from the negative stuff that was going on with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when it's time for camp and stuff like that, I still got all of that partying in my system to where my rest is not right. I'm showing up to practice. I'm sleepy. I got bags under my eyes. I'm not focused. I'm missing my reads. And subsequently, I wasn't able to perform out there on the football field because I spent too much time in the off season partying and not living the lifestyle. Right. So now when I
Yeah.
mentor these kids, what does that lifestyle look like? You got to wake up. You got to hit the books. You got to make sure you're taking care of your diet. You got to make sure you get proper rest. You got to make sure you stretch. You got to make sure you study. You got to make sure you're doing all the things correctly that's going to help you have success out there, not only in football, but just in life in general. Forget about football, just life in general. Because before you know it, it's going to be over. And next thing you know, you're going to be looking at your bank account, trying to figure out where your money went. And now you got some serious decisions that you got to make because you got to get up off your shoulders and go find you a normal job like everybody else.
That's great. One, thank you for sharing that. That's number one,
Yeah.
because you don't have to share that personal information. And number two,
Yeah.
I think that's really appreciative. I think I'm gonna talk a little bit more on the football side of Keely. Like, systems make quarterbacks, right?
No question.
We've seen it time and time again, and I get really irritated when we hear announcers and couch quarterbacks talk about, oh, that guy's, he's horrible, he sucks, or he's no good, why is he in the league? And I'm like, you guys don't understand, systems make a quarterback. And I think Alex Smith has probably been the epitome of that. When he was in the 49ers in the beginning, everybody said how horrible he was until he got to a system where he was fit with when Jim Harbaugh came. He finally put him in a system where he's successful. I think people don't understand how tough that is, because I think you went to a bad system. I think when you went to Cincinnati, it was a bad system. It wasn't the right system for you because it was different than Oregon, what Oregon was running. Oregon, you guys were revolutionized on basically being not under center, getting the ball, shotgun all the time, making you read, move. You guys were probably revolutionary read option. At that time, they didn't call it read option at the time, but you guys were one of the first people in your era to do the read option. And that's a different system what you're going into Cincinnati. Cincinnati is completely different, and I don't think people understand that time to adjust and to be successful. I think Jamarcus Russell went through the same thing when he went to the Raiders. The system not conducive to what he could do well. So when people say, oh, they're horrible, or they suck, or these guys aren't producing, it ain't talent-wise at all. It's sometimes the system is not set up for them to be successful. Now, all the other stuff you mentioned right before, he can't be partying and doing all that stuff. I get that part. That may attribute to pulling out. But also, I think the system, if it's not conducive to the player, it doesn't work, because we've seen time and time again, players success, they're unsuccessful. They just can't figure it out. Rick Meyer, Ryan Leaf, all down the line. These guys wanted to, the talent was great. They just wanted to unsuccessful systems that didn't fit their game. And now today's NFL caters to those player systems. It was different in your day. They didn't do that. You had to conform to their system, or either you're out. Nowadays they conform to the player system to try to make things better for them. Do you agree with that, or no?
I totally agree with that. It's all about system, and it's all about organization. I tell guys all the time, like, what if I would have went number 2 to Philadelphia and Donovan McNabb would have went to number 3 to Cincinnati? We're talking
Mm.
about two different outcomes here. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? What if McNabb went to the Cleveland Browns and Tim Couch went number two? Like, there's a lot of different scenarios out there that people don't look at. They just look at, okay, he went to the Bengals, he wasn't successful, he's not a good quarterback, and that's just the end of it. Well, let's talk about things like system and the situation that I went to having three different offensive coordinators in 3 years, where every offseason you're learning a different playbook, you're learning different schemes. Your number one receiver goes down. They don't bring in another receiver, a la Darnay Scott went down. We don't bring in another receiver because Mike Brown is struggling financially. So my second
Yeah.
year, I go on the field. I got Peter Warrick at receiver. He's a rookie. I got Ron Dugans at receiver. He's a rookie. I'm in my second year. Craig Reese is in his second year. Damon Griffin's in his second year. We're a college football team on the field playing against Jacksonville, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, because of the system and the organization and the situation that we're in. People don't
Yep.
understand that. They're just looking at it and saying, oh, he didn't play well without really diving into it and saying, okay, what really happened to Achilles Smith? What happened to a
Yep.
Dave Klingler? What happened to a
Yep.
Jeff Blake? What happened to
Yep.
a
Wow.
Kijana Carter? What happened
Yeah.
to all these guys in the Bengal organization? There's a
Yeah.
reason at that time that the Bengal organization had the top 5 pick every single year. And what was that reason?
Yeah.
There was definitely some organizational situations. And again, I was guilty of the partying. I'm a man up to that. I was guilty of it. But at that time, we didn't have no leadership. I was running away from the situation instead of living a lifestyle, and it ended up costing me my career.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, man, that's
Yeah, right. I
deep.
don't even want to talk, right? Because I just want I want folks to marinate with what you were saying there. And I appreciate Mel and I appreciate Jim for chiming in with some really good comments in terms of that. So again, we want to thank you, Keely, for just, opening up that
Mhm.
can a little bit, right? Because again, a lot of times folks, and just like you said, folks will Google you and see a whole bunch of different stuff. Listen, you Google me, the first
Right.
3 pages are of a murderer. You got to go to page 4 to get something good, to get me. Right. And
Yeah.
again, folks won't do that background, that research. Folks won't actually reach out to you and have this type of a conversation in terms of what it was like within the
Mhm.
organization. Like Mel was saying,
Right.
within the system as well, what you had to deal with. So your story is still a relatively new story that needs to be told, especially to
Yep.
some of these new cats that are out here right now
Yep.
dealing with, they think they deserve X, Y, and Z. But again, you saw things from so many different perspectives that I think that story needs to be told. And I'm glad you're coming here tonight. And we're gonna keep diving into it, even though we got these other stories. We're gonna weave in some Achilles
Yeah.
Smith
Yeah. I
history.
think
Yeah.
Achilles' story is a lot more interesting
Uh,
than his other stories.
yeah,
I mean, I would,
exactly.
hey, Achilles, I would love for you to talk about the pressure of you're a 21, 22-year-old man being coming from the situation saying, hey, I'm in Oregon. I'm still a kid when I'm in Oregon, right? I still got the college life, so I'm kind of protected because I'm in college. I don't really have to be an adult to saying, hey, I'm one of the top picks. Here's the keys to the ring, and everyone's saying, here's the pressure on you. I can only imagine. I can't imagine how would you deal with that pressure, like because I couldn't have been easy, man. It couldn't have been easy. There's no way it could have been easy,
Yeah.
especially with you know I'm saying with the system being wrong, and you got to, like you said, learn a whole new system, figure everything out, adapt to a different culture. Not only that city of Cincinnati compared to where you were in Oregon, but to just a whole different environment. Way the NFL game is set up different from college.
Yeah, it was a
How'd you work with that?
situation where it was just a situation where you were thrust into an organization that just had no hope. There was just no hope when I went into the Cincinnati Bengal organization. I mean, it was so bad to where the head coach would come into the huddle and he's smoking a cigarette calling plays. That's how bad it was at practice.
I can't hear your mic.
Imagine that.
Move your hands. I think your hands in your mic.
I said the head coach at the time was smoking a cigarette and calling plays on the practice field. That's how much pressure it was to win for the
Wow.
Cincinnati Bengals. Now, some of this stuff, we're going to release on. I'm writing a book. We got a group text with a lot of us on there: Corey Dillon and Willie Anderson, Takio and Chad Johnson. All of us are on there. Write a
Hmm.
nice little book, put some of this stuff on the bubbles, so that people can kind of understand what we went through as a organization and what we went through as players. Some people don't understand that. They're just looking at it as, okay, dang, them players were sorry, because a lot of people aren't willing to tell the truth. And as you know, the media is not going to tell the truth too, because then they won't have access to the locker room. So we're trying to figure out, okay, how can we word this? Because ultimately, it's still a blessing, right? When you get millions of
Yeah.
dollars to play football, it's still a blessing for you, your family. It's still a blessing for your namesake and all that good stuff. But the truth must come out as to what we dealt with, what we're dealing with now, and how a lot of our careers did not go the way that we wanted to go. Like, still to this day, Corey Dillon is still upset about his career, and he's one of the greatest running backs that ever played, and he's
Hmm.
still not happy. Willie Anderson only gave up maybe what, 10 to 15 sacks in his career. He's not in the Hall of Fame because he was a Bengal. You see what I'm saying? So there's a
Yeah.
lot of pain with some of these players that have dealt with the Bengal organization.
Mm. That to me that's so interesting because the you can tell the winning organizations versus the losing organizations, right?
Yeah.
And how that page turns. It seems like the winning organizations really invest in their players, or invest in their well-being, invest in their
Right.
livelihood. And to me, from what you're saying, definitely with the Bengals, they always been good every 10 years or every 25, every 15 years. They have
Mhm.
a great season and it goes back down, back down. Um, Talk about the coaches, man. Like you said, the coaches smoking cigarette. How invested are you? How invested were they in you? And when did you see them saying, you know what, we're not going to invest no more time in him and kind of back off? Because I think people don't
But
understand those coaches get into that situation, and then that's when they start to label you, right? Hey, when the coach says he
yeah,
doesn't want to do it, then they start to label you that you're not either combative or not cooperative or whatever the case may be. When did you realize that in the organization that was happening to you?
yeah, I realized I was in trouble when, and some of this information was just released to me as I'm diving into it with some of my former teammates. But prior to me getting drafted, the coaches at the time went and met with Jeff Blake and played around the golf and told him
Mm.
that you're our guy and that they're going to draft a quarterback that we really don't want to draft.
Mm.
Right. So now you have an organization that is trying to play their draft pick over a coach that wants to play their draft pick. So now ask yourself, do you really think that that coach wants that draft pick to be successful? Right.
No.
I was that
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
I was that guy caught in the middle of it. And now
So
that
they
I'm on
pitted
that group
you,
text and
kind
I'm
of
getting,
pitted you guys against each other, right? Pitted you guys kind of against each other, where he can't embrace you as a brother
Mhm.
and teach you, but more or less pitted you guys against each other, where it's not that solidarity within the organization.
There you go. Not that solidarity as far as, hey, I'm big bro. Let's pull this thing together. Let's get this
Mm-mm.
organization out of the dumps. Let's win some games. Let's get to the playoffs. Let's both try to cash in with a second contract so that we can be stable and support our families. Instead, there was some bickering and some going back and forth and a lot of finger pointing going on at that time. I mean,
Yeah,
tons of finger pointing going on. And that's just not a great organization as far as, well, back then was is not a great
yeah.
organization as far as being able to go out there on a football field and be successful.
Wow.
That to me. That's funny because I mean, not that's funny, but that's a great insight because you already know the other on the coaching side, they're gonna tell a different story, right? They're gonna tell a different
Yeah.
story than you, Corey, and Willie, and Chad,
Mm-hmm.
and all them. They're gonna tell their story where either they were uncooperative or unprepared, or they weren't focused. And people don't understand. I don't think that's the case, and that's not the case. Not even when your time, and not the case today. It's not that you guys don't want to be, because all you guys are there to be successful. Every last one of you are there to be
Yeah.
successful.
Well,
It's now,
Mm-hmm.
everyone's a professional too at that level, right?
yeah,
They've got the same mindset in terms of wanting to win, and if the powers that be or the circumstances don't allow you as an individual to not just be the individual but be a part of the team, a winning team, then there's the problem right there that needs to be addressed. And
I was gonna
it never
call.
seems to come top down. It always seems to come bottom up from the folks that are actually in the trenches and in the locker rooms that actually start talking about these things, like you say, your book that you're writing. So that's going to be
Yeah.
interesting to see.
I think it's
Yeah.
funny
And
because I wanted to quote HP, like Hewlett Packard.
Hmm.
Remember, Hewlett Packard said, "We give you every tool possible to be successful, you will be successful, right? Whatever you
Right.
need that you think you need to be successful,
Brother, I gave
they'll
HP
provide
20
that to
years
you
of my
so you can
life.
be a
That's why
successful
I'm
employee,
laughing. Okay.
right? I mean, is that right, James? Because you went to
Right.
HP, right? Is that kind of the quote they said? We'll give you all the tools and equipment for you to be successful.
That
This is
was
before
it, man.
Carly. I'm talking post
Listen,
Carly,
yeah.
bro.
Listen, now you gonna give me flashbacks. Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
true. I gave them 20 years of my life, man. So that was it, right? The rules of the
Yeah.
garage where you have everything that you need
Yes.
to be successful. So that's good stuff. Look at
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
Okay.
So I'm saying in that organization, they didn't even come close to doing that. They didn't give you all the tools to be successful. Obviously, they pitted you guys against each other to be divisive, right? It was divisive there, more so than being together. And where you see organizations like the 49ers and the successful organization, it seems like they're more equipped like that attitude. We're going to give you everything to be successful. Trey, the young boy, what's his name? The guy that got hurt. The kid that got hurt.
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance. They give Trey Lance every tool to be successful. Everything. They want to give him so much to be successful. They're ready to get rid of Garoppolo to make sure he's going to be the guy and be successful. In your day, it does, or at least that organization did not do that. And that's it's funny. It's different from each 30 teams. Is very different from that perspective.
Right. Yeah, and you know what? At the end of the day, you look at Bill Belichick and his organization, the ones that have been stable and been able to win, is because they value the player more than making capital, and understanding it's not about just the bottom line all the time. You see what I'm saying? Because you run into those owners that all they care about is making money, the bottom line, and just putting the product out there on the field. As long as they're making money every single year, they're okay with that. Some of these owners don't feel that way. They really look out for their players to make sure that their players are good, because they know if they put a good product out there, they're going to be able to sell some tickets. They're going to be able to sell some jerseys and things like that. And then they'll be on a Sunday night game. They'll be on a Monday night game. They'll be on a Thursday night game. And now the organization is making a lot of revenue as opposed to not having none of those games at all.
So before you move on, because that's very telling, and again, we may have some, I'm gonna call them Monday morning quarterbacks, or just weekend football fans here. But what you said right there needs to be digested. Again, the Robert Krafts, the Steeler family, those families that really look to bring up the individual, as opposed to worrying day one about. Everyone wants to get the ring. Everyone wants to get the trophy. But you know what? Let me make you successful as an individual first. And then we as an organization can grow and prosper from that. I'm not going to mention some of the other squads that do it the reverse way. Some of us listening and watching know who those other squads are. But again, it's really telling that the longevity of a Pittsburgh, the longevity of a New England, the longevity of no, I don't even want to say this other squad here, but of those particular ones, right? I'm not gonna start any mess right there, because this other squad not winning or nothing. But it's really telling that, again, when it does come top down as opposed to bottom up, that's where you have that long-term success within the organization, and that's.
I think a great example of that is the Raiders organization.
When I wanted to say the Raiders, but that's not the one I was talking about. But I wanted to say the Raiders back in the day when it was just when
Dad was there, he invested in the players.
Just
Junior ain't investing in the players.
He ain't, man.
Right.
He paid.
We
paid some money. Now he paid some big money to say Josh Daniels and him, but he also got a lot of money from Las Vegas, right? He tried to say he's going to put a winner out there, but either he doesn't, or he doesn't know how to invest in players or invest in the organization the way his dad did. His dad invested in his players to be successful. His dad wanted to make sure they was always winning. His dad understood the brand. I don't think his son understands the brand the way they are. I say the same thing about the Chargers organization. The same thing with the Spanos. They were waiting for the quick dollar to move to LA instead of being in San Diego, instead of just investing in their organization and making the San Diego a Super Bowl team or prospering in that. I understand the big market and all that stuff to get money. I'm not no one's stupid on this podcast to understand money's not important when it comes to do it. But I also think the Krafts and the Hines and in Pittsburgh and the people in Tampa Bay, they do it the right way. They make sure that Jerry Jones is another one. As much as I hate him, he does it the right way. He makes money the right way. He invests in his team. He invests in. They don't win, but he invests in them wholeheartedly. Those are the right things to do, and I think that's why his teams is always successful and at the top, and other teams are always historically at the bottom, and they don't care.
We can go into that too. Okay, we're gonna stick on football because I want to ask while Achilles here, because this is something that I've been thinking about. And I'm glad that you are here, man. We appreciate you for being here today. And specifically, I want to flash back to last week. I want to flash back to the Cricket Celebration Bowl. I want to flash back to Deion trying to win.
Deion
Almost won. So close to winning.
Yeah.
That one tight end though, Hayden Hagler, dropped that ball that was in his pocket.
In his hand.
Talk to me from a football mind, someone who's been out there for third and short, right? Let's win the game. You've been in that situation. You know the plays. You know what's going on. You've been in Shadour's spot, right? You've thrown. What is that conversation like between you? I done made him go off camera. See, Achilles messed around. He messed around and got a call from somebody. We talking about these teams.
Somebody called me.
we talking about these teams right
Somebody
here.
Somebody called to hang that up quick.
Oh my! See that? That's the law calling right there.
I'm back.
Okay. The conversation, you as the leader of the squad, the quarterback, right, having a conversation with that tight end who dropped that ball at that particular moment, which could have tied the game, which could have gave them the opportunity to win. But how do you as a leader have that conversation, and how are you using that situation, if you watched it, to train up some of the youngsters that you're talking with now who are going to be under center in that same type of situation? How do you take your history, your experience, see a situation like that, and then portray that out to some new cats that are actually coming up? I know it's kind of a pivot off of what we were talking about, but again, I just want to make sure that we talk a little bit about some of this other stuff too.
It's a life lesson, a life lesson, if you will, because things are always away. And especially as a coach, the game's always going down to like 5, 6, and not one of the first plays, right? There was some other games that plays on defense would miss.
Yes, brother.
Yeah, dropped off.
Yes, brother, here on Boost Mobile. Let's see, I keep talking about Boost Mobile and Cricket Mobile.
But no, let's kind of continue on that conversation, James. Though, for real,
Yeah,
I think that kid that wanted to drop the ball, I feel bad because he got death threats after this game. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, that's kind of where I want to go into right again. Yeah. How do you deal with that? And I've seen the video of Deion talking to the guy afterwards. How do you deal with that?
But let's be real. I don't think Deion really has a conversation with it because Deion is focused on Colorado at the end of the game. He's gone. Yeah. So I don't think he has such a conversation to maybe say, it's going to be all right. Keep your head up. I'm keeping it moving, but I'm on the next flight. I think Shiloh doesn't say too much for him because Shiloh's on the next flight with his dad. So I think the one thing is that this young man, and I would hope someone in that organization, one of the coaches, just pulled him to the side and says, that's one small moment in your life. That's just one moment which we would have been successful, but we weren't. It's going to be one mess up out there. That's just one small mess up in your career.
Yeah.
That shouldn't define you at all. Everybody missed
exactly.
Everybody's missed the open shot. Everybody's dropped the ball. Everybody's done all missed the pass. Everybody's done that in their life. Yeah, that was a big moment that could have changed everything, but don't let that define your life because you just had that one small failure. Yeah. I think that's what you would tell that young man. Yeah, you got to tell him that message, Montel. And I'm sure Deion said that because that's what the person is. Deion's Instagram page, he actually put it up on his Instagram page because he's probably never and stuff like that. So just young, but no, you not let that one play define the game. Before
we laughing at you, not with you right now, brother. We laughing with you, not at you.
Your phone keep breaking up, bro. You sound like a robot.
Yes, this episode is definitely not going on the podcast, on the audio podcast. This episode gonna get chopped up really well, so don't. This is what happens when you go live, folks. Bear with us, but we still bringing you a quality product. Like Gilly Smith, NFL player, he got 3G cell service at his house. He not even he's stealing internet from the neighbor. This brother, you know what I'm saying?
Leave my man alone, no. He's just on the phone. He on that phone, that Wi-Fi, man. I've been there before. I done had that bad connection too, man.
Where he at? In the Bahamas? He on 2G.
But hey, let's talk about the Willie McGinnis story, man. Let's talk about the Willie McGinnis story. I want to really talk about it.
Because well, okay, we were talking about the Patriots, we were talking about the organization, and there's some back and forth that's going to happen on this. Willie McGinnis, y'all know him. He was a bad man out there. Willie McGinnis was a really bad. He was a linebacker. He did what he needed to do, help him win a number of championships. Willie was out in L.A. at the club. You've all been to the club. We've all been to the club. We've got into some situations and altercations. Alcohol is flowing, whatever. There's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of testosterone, a lot of dude. Listen, it is what it is. You in the club. Somebody said something to Willie and his team. Next thing you know, they got to talking. Soon after they got to talking, fists got to flying. Oh, Lord. And then Willie, I'm not even going to say allegedly because we got video. Willie picks up a bottle and hits this man multiple times across the head and face. So altercation at the club, again, it is what it is, a bar fight, things like that. But now Willie is facing the repercussions of that, right? He is off the air. He's not on NFL Network right now. And the overall Patriots organization is considering taking him out of the Hall of Fame for the Patriots because of this altercation that happened. And, trying to look at it in perspective, right? Again, you think about what happened with Mike Tyson when he was on the plane and the dude was harassing him. He was trying to be cool, quit messing with me. You think about some of the other situations where fanatics, not just fans, but just people roll up on celebrities and entertainers and people that they admire and just won't leave them alone. Willie's telling this guy, leave me alone. I'm here with my people. It escalated. How much onus do we put on Willie just because he's a celebrity, entertainer, ex-pro athlete, and now does he lose all of the work that he's accumulated in the past?
That's where I'm at right now. I know I met Willie. I know Willie personally. He's a really good dude, man. I mean, he's a really good dude. Very quiet, keeps to himself a lot, even over status. So I really want to understand what happened in this club. Was he in a situation where he felt he had to defend himself, and this is the repercussions of him defending himself, or was it something that he, what happened? What was the situation that made him lose control like that, and him, get into a fight with this guy? But at this point, I'm a defend Willie. I think something happened to make him trigger. I think once the whole story comes out, maybe he can explain the situation, how it happened, what went wrong, why did they go this far? But I think people don't understand. You don't know, what if this guy threatened his life? We're in California, man. He's in LA, California. Somebody, he's like, I'm going to the trunk. I'm not letting nobody get to the trunk or nothing. I'm not even letting them get to their car because you don't know what's going to happen. So yeah. I don't know we don't know what transpired in that club to make him react that way. But I can only imagine because, man, Willie's from Long Beach. He's lived in LA. Man, he's a really cool dude. Like, real cool. Like, he doesn't strike me as a person that starts a fight with somebody. Because the times I've been with him or had a conversation with him, he's very, very calm demeanor. He's a nice dude. Him and Hardy Nickerson, man, are two of the nicest dudes I met in the league, as far as sharing the knowledge of the game. Wow. Or they try means too. But sharing the knowledge of the game, understanding coaching, talking to you, just to have a conversation with a regular person, he can go speak to a person just sitting on the bench and just talk to him. He worked really well with kids in the Nike camps when we worked. So I don't know what happened, man, but this is out of his demeanor, out of his character, from what I've seen. Yeah. So I'm wondering, once the facts all come out, what the guy do to him or what the guy say to him to make him react that way.
More than likely, he said something that was inappropriate. And again,
or threatening, right? Or said something threatening.
Right. But as you're saying, Willie, 51-year-old man, played for a lot of years in Boston, Massachusetts area, where he's already got strikes against him, just for being in that area. Right. Yeah. Grew up in Long Beach, so he's already aware of things going on. Right. He's not just got the book smart; he got the street smarts as well. It's gonna take a whole lot of extra pushing and a whole lot of extra effort to get this man to risk. He's got things to lose. Right. He's got things to lose before he starts acting up like this.
He's very aware of what he has and what he has to lose. Yeah. Very aware. Yeah. From what I know of him, from what I met him, we used to talk. He's very aware of his surroundings in the situation. He's very aware that he's an NFL player. He's very aware that people recognize him. He knows all those things. So for him to be in the club and for him to react that way, I'm like I said, I think something happened where either maybe something was threatening, or he felt threatened, or he felt in a situation where he had to make sure he battled his way out of there, and that's what happened. And Willie and Hardy are probably the two best in shape dudes I've seen plus 50 in ever. Them dudes still work out strong. They look like they can still play in the league, to be honest with you. If you look at him,
Willie got more cuts on him than Terrell Owens, right? And we know he live in the gym.
And that's another thing. Like you said, like we dealt with T.O. last week when he counted on him.
That's
the
why
guy
I bring it up. Yeah,
fans tried to swing on him. We've seen this number of times where fans get out of control, and this is the funny part. So first, the fans gonna be like, "Hey, how you doing? What's up, man?" You know that, and you're gonna be like, "Oh man, I'm just trying to have a good time. Let me relax. Let me chill. I'm just being with my friends." And since the friend doesn't get the reaction from you that he wanted, now he's gonna be like, "Oh, F you, screw you, dog. You ain't blah blah. You ain't. You know what I'm saying? Your team sucked in." Then it gets to be combative, right? And he's being irritated. And then we know mixed out with alcohol, who knows what happens in the club. So I'm gonna side with Willie as of right now. I'm hoping everything works out in his favor. I don't agree with the Patriots taking him out of the ring of Hall of Fame because of this.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy, right? If they take him out of the Patriots Hall of Fame, I mean that's just gonna be devastating for him.
If that's the case, they need to remove a whole bunch of people, because I'm sure we can dig dirt on a lot of athletes.
We don't have to dig too deep. No, yeah, we don't have to dig too deep. There's a hand.
Yeah, we can dig deep in a whole bunch of them. They need to remove them from their Hall of Fame as well.
Man,
so I mean, if that's going to be their standard of doing things, then they need to make sure they clean house on everybody that has a smudge on their name that's in that organization, that's on that ring. For them to be up there. I just think, like I said, man, knowing him personally, man, like I said, we ain't best friends or anything like that. But I've had to sit down and had a couple of conversations with Willie in the past, and he's just a good dude, man. I don't see this being within this character.
Out of character.
Yeah,
we will see. We'll continue to watch this. We're gonna continue to also see what's going on with Gilly Smith's internet connection, or who called him. If that was the NFL league office calling him, saying he was talking too much. Behind the scenes. Let's go and keep going, because I want to be cognizant of time, and we got a couple more stories to go. And again, unfortunately, folks, as I said, they're not as good as talking with Achille. Mari Stoudemire. We've had a similar story like this in the past, and again, when you sent this to me, I was like, man, this can't be right. Mari Stoudemire, NBA great, right? Played for a lot of stars out here. He has been charged with assault and battery for hitting his teenage daughter. The charges, and don't even say who filed the charge. And it may have been from his ex-wife. The ex-wife came and picked up the kids, the two girls from Amari's house. The whole situation stemmed from a conversation on the phone. The daughter was on the phone with Amari's mother, so the girl's grandmother. And according to the story, the daughter was misbehaving, not misbehaving, was being disrespectful to the grandmother. Mm-hmm. Amari kind of addressed that and said, "Don't be disrespectful to my mother, your grandmother," and allegedly, and from what we're hearing from the story, and I hate using the word allegedly because it happened, started hitting his daughter in the face.
Close fist.
Multiple times. Close fist. Yeah. Man, you don't, and we don't know if it was his 17 or 14-year-old daughter. Man, you listen. There's no excuse, man. I understand. I understand. Okay, you need to have a conversation, and you want to chastise. You want to whoop your child. You grew up back in the day when mom and dad wouldn't got a switch or got a belt. But the statement here that Amari is talking about, that he went out there and struck his daughter for disrespecting his mother while they were on a phone call. What could the child say?
I mean. Wait, let's be hindsight first. And I'm not in agreement with
Amari. Okay, because I've got just one side right now, and I'm gonna let you be
I'm
the
not
voice
agreeing with Amari
neutrality on this one.
But what if she was being very disrespectful? Let's say let's put ourselves in our shoes. Your 14-year-old daughter is talking crazy to your mother, calling her maybe some MFs and the B word and all that stuff, and I ain't got to listen to you because we know somebody. We've seen these happen in some instances. If she's talking to her grandmother like that, being super disrespectful like that, and the fact that she's probably, I don't live with you, I don't need to be, you ain't, I don't care if you're my daddy, you don't raise me, I was my mama, and I ain't got to listen to her, blah blah blah. This. At what point does he say, now I don't go in and punching her in the face, I ain't saying that.
Yeah.
But at what point does he need to step in and be like, yo, you need to quit talking to my mother like that? And if she continues to do on, what is his recourse? What is his recourse? What is he supposed to do at that point, besides defend his mother? Because if it comes down to me defending my mother or defending my daughter, especially if I think it's combative, I'm gonna side with my mother first, and then I'm gonna restrain my daughter. I'm not gonna restrain my mother. I'm gonna restrain my daughter. Now, did he maybe take it too far? Absolutely. But the fact of the matter, if the conversation went like that, or she was being that kind of disrespectful to his mother, then I can see him stepping in. I just think he didn't understand how to react and maybe restrain his daughter the correct way, besides putting his hands on her.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm a pivot over here to what Tony is saying. Appreciate you being here, Tony. It doesn't matter. Stop being abusive. I need you to use the out. Okay. We need you to be better at parenting, other ways to resolve. Right. I mean,
but wait. Hold on. I think that's
I'm gonna let you go because I'm gonna go somewhere.
Yeah. Because hold on. Why is it abusive? If he's defending his mother from being in a combative situation, how's that being abusive? If it was a regular woman on the street talking, let's remove his daughter. If it was two 14, 15-year-old girls on the street talking to your mother that way, being disrespectful, and you try to intervene, and it's starting to become a combative situation, is that abuse? Or is that defense?
So I think the differentiator right here is who the parties are, the three parties are. When, again, 14, 17-year-old daughter.
I don't agree with him punching her. I'm not saying that wasn't right. That's wrong. 100% wrong on him. But I'm saying we got to take into consideration the scenario or the situation. If you're threatening my mother, or I feel my mother's being threatened in the threatened situation or combative situation when my mother's 70 years old, I'll be damned if I let anybody hit my mother or get in my mother's face like that.
Mm-hmm.
No one. There's no one gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
So just because it happens to be his daughter doesn't prevent him from protecting his mother. That's where I'm coming from.
So you're coming from the view that the daughter should have known better. And again, I don't want to put words in your mouth here, but I want to have the conversation. I actually want to spur up some comments as well.
Yeah.
But the daughter should have known better. He's stepping in as I'm gonna say an old school parent, right? Again, who grew up East Coast, maybe, or whatever case may be, and said, listen, anywhere, right? You're not gonna disrespect the elders. You're not going to disrespect your grandmother. You're not going to disrespect my mother. And I'm going to correct the situation. But the hitting her, I'm going to assume hitting her like a man with a closed fist.
That's wrong.
That's the part right there. See, I can't even look past that piece right there. That's the part I can't look past. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's 100% wrong, because me personally, I don't think any grown man should put his hands on a woman. But I think he had. I think he didn't know how to control that part. But I'm saying that the scenario, the situation, if my mother, and I'll tell this the whole audience and the whole world, if my mom's in a situation where I think my mom is feeling threatened or there's about to be a combative situation, I'm jumping in. I'm jumping in and I'm defending my mother. And if I feel it's going to be real combative, then I'm going to use what I have to do to make sure you don't hit my mother or be abusive or be aggressive towards my mother in any kind of way. 100%. Now, do I agree with starting out putting his hands on his daughter with a fist? Absolutely not. Not condoning that. But I am condoning the fact he should be able to defend his mother. He just handled it the wrong way, in my opinion. Should he be charged with assault? Yes. Should he be charged with assault? Absolutely. Should he go to counseling? Absolutely yes. Is he wrong for hitting her? Absolutely yes. Is he wrong for defending his mother? Hell no.
I mean, and here hindsight is 2020, and like what Cheryl was just saying, look, if it was the altercation was on the phone, just take the phone away, right? In the situation. But again, we weren't in the room. We
Mhm.
Monday morning quarterbacking here. We flies on the wall trying to figure out the situation, what we would have done, but then
Yes.
we don't know and we didn't hear what was being told or being said. It's just an unfortunate situation, man.
This ranks up there. You know, it ranks up there, James. It's not as bad.
Yeah.
This ranks up there with my boy, the Chicago Bull dude, hit his son.
That's why I had such a hard time when you told me about this story.
Gordon, yeah, Ben Gordon. Yeah.
Ben Gordon smacking his son for dropping a book or right. Man, that's what this reminded me of when you sent it to me this afternoon, and I was like, come on, man, you can't be. They're your kids, yeah, and yeah, you need to parent and you need to adult and you need to train and you need to teach and all that, but now you can't just be wailing back and hitting nobody.
And the more so I think about it though, and I think about this a lot, like, how come he couldn't restrain his 14-year-old daughters without punching her?
Yeah.
Like he's 6'10", 200 some odd pounds.
He's 7 feet. Oh yeah. What was it? He's tall brother. Right, here it is. Here it is. Assaulted by a father who was nearly 7 feet tall and weighs 250 pounds.
Yeah. So you
just reading that, I'm scared of. And I'm 6.
You can just grab her and move out the way. I don't think you needed to punch her. Now that's just going way too far with the situation. I would just lifted my daughter up and removed her out of the way. And like you said, if it was a phone, it would just took away the phone. But I do not. Like I said, defending his mother, I'm all 100%. Did he do it the right way? Hell no, he didn't do it the right way.
Yeah. And again, heated the moment, right? Again, who knows what the situation were, but we reporting on it because it's out there, and it's back page of the news. So a lot of the major news organizations aren't going to talk about it, but this again needs to be talked about for the fact of the reason that again we're talking parenting, we're talking about just how to deal with again younger minds and respect for we're talking about all these social impacting issues that relate in this one particular story that just looks like a mugshot of Amar'e Stoudemire. Hey, there's so much back.
You know what though? Let me apologize, Tony. I actually do agree with him. I take it back. I do agree with you. We do need to stop the aggressive behavior. Our comment from Tony, he said we need to stop the aggressive behavior. I agree. You're right. There should have been a better way to handle it. I think that's something that as we know, at least from my time, it was a generational thing, right? The abusive behavior was something that was generational. We saw it in the house, so we did it.
Yeah.
But I also believe there's a definitive line between abuse and discipline, right? Ooh. There's a big fine.
Yeah.
I think there is a fine line between the discipline. I think me personally, and I don't care if they come after me, I think if a little kid has something, it's okay to pop them on the head. Stop doing that, or spank them on the butt when they do something bad, so they don't do it again. I'm not talking about beat them. You don't beat them to their bruise, or you beat them, but I don't think there's nothing wrong with spanking and disciplining in the way. Mm-hmm. So that term abusive is always interpreted some different ways.
Yeah.
I don't think that abusive behavior. Yes, absolutely. I think it needs to stop. I think he could have handled it a better way of parenting. I think some other parents can handle a better way of parenting also. But I don't think discipline should be removed out of the scenario, out of the situation. And what I mean by discipline, I think it's okay for a kid to get a spanking. As long as they ain't beating the kid to death. But if it's going to teach him a lesson to save his life, or make sure he does right instead of wrong, hey man, give him a little pat on the butt and tell him don't do it anymore. I think that's absolutely okay. I think the best scenario of it, I don't know if you remember this, James. Remember that woman that stopped her son from the riots in Washington, D.C.? She was on camera. She beat him. She spanked him. 14-year-old son. He was going out to go loot when they burned down the Walmart or something. When they didn't see Walgreens, they burned it down in D.C. and he was going out to loot. She grabbed him and said, "You're not gonna go out there." And she popped him a couple of times to get your butt back in the house. And they tried to charge her with abuse. That wasn't abuse.
Yeah,
that was She was disciplining him, saying, "You're not gonna go out there and do it." I think people need to really be definitive of what they mean by, being abusive towards someone or having discipline. That one Amar'e did was abusive. Yeah, he punched her. That's something completely different. But I'm saying we need to be careful when we say these things about abuse and discipline. And me personally, I don't feel there's anything wrong with physical discipline if that curbs the situation.
I agree. I do agree with you on that. I'd agree. Man, love it. Love it. Love the conversation. Tony, man. Tony, we got to get you on camera, brother. I
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
you're always chiming in the comments with some bangers and some heaters out there, but man, we're going to get you on camera one of these days. All right. Let's move on. Kelly's not coming back, so I'm just gonna drop him. Forget Kelly
Yeah.
Smith.
Hopefully he watches,
man.
He watches.
You see how them ducks do you? If he was a beaver.
Oh, you gonna go there?
If he was a beaver, and then I wanted to talk good about him for just like 5 minutes for this next story right here, because today was National Signing Day.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of squads, couple of schools, couple of organizations actually did well, fared well. You know, Nick Saban did what he needed to do, and Alabama is blowing up in the right way. But according to ESPN, big winner, Oregon Ducks.
Yeah.
Right. Getting some commits to come that way and play over there in Eugene. So Oregon Ducks, Oklahoma. Of course, the Crimson Tide, the Hurricanes, a couple of other squads, the Michigan Wolverines playing out there in the Big Den. So shouts out to what Harbaugh is doing out there. Great season.
Yep.
And then my Bruins, my UCLA Bruins. It's good to see them do something right.
Yeah.
Chip Kelly out there is trying to do some things. So
National
Signing Day today. Tell me what you think about this, because I know you're pretty close to what's happening.
I'm ecstatic. The only team that I wish was on there should have been Georgia. Georgia had a great signing day today as well. With the number one running back in California, Roger Robinson, signed there from out here in San Diego area. I think, but Oregon made the winner when they flipped the quarterback from Baylor to come to Oregon.
Yeah.
That was a big, I think, swift for them. I do believe that like today is like a great day because a lot of young men's lives are impacted and changed forever.
Yeah.
Right. They're going to be changed forever. They get the opportunity to go play high-level collegiate football. They get to go get an opportunity to get their degree. Some of them will have the chance to be able to make it to the NFL or make it play professional football league. I think this is a huge day and a day that we should celebrate these young men because all that hard work from not only them but from their parents, the sacrifices from the parents, sacrifices from their friends and their family, all paid off today for them to be able to do that. Now it's the next chapter in their life, which we should celebrate. I mean, I think this is a great day going there. I think everybody gets caught in who's the rank higher. I want every man, the little kid that signed for the Division III to the best player in the nation, man. I think we should salute these young people and congratulate them and wish them the very best on the next endeavors in life.
Right. So now, right, they've made the commitments. They're going on, but now they got to put the work in, put in more work.
Yep.
Now it gets serious. They're not professionals yet, but they're gonna get some NIL money. Probably some of them, not all of them. I like what Tony is saying right here, man. You got to remember all these kids in the portal. Not everyone is gonna go out there and make that NIL money. Not everyone's gonna get drafted. Priority one should be the student athlete, the student part
absolutely.
First. And you think about Mr. Irrelevant. NFL right now is winning for NFL. The last person to get drafted is actually out there doing something really big with a high quality, high caliber team, the San Francisco 49ers. Mm-hmm. Now, today was Deion Sanders' first signing day over in Colorado. He flipped a couple of cats. He's doing what he needs to do, and he's building his squad. The big news that I think we all knew was his son, committed and is leaving Jackson State and is going to Colorado. So all eyes on them Buffaloes.
You know what, man?
A lot of eyes, right? A lot of discerning eyes are wondering, can he do anything over there with the squad who has not been very successful for a long time?
Which he will do some good things, and he's gonna have some growing pains, like we said. I think coming. You got to think actually coming in late to the recruiting period. He did a pretty good job. Like, he just got there, a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Remember, UCLA and Miami, they've been recruiting for months for their school. They've been haggling guys for months. So I believe that Deion's going, he's going to have his hard time in the beginning. But I think he's going to be able to get a lot of kids out of the portal more so than just signing new kids, new high school kids and JC kids. I think his life is going to be in the portal for right now, to get a lot of those kids that are injured there to come to Colorado, to make them have a decent season their first year, and then he'll build off of that. But I mean, all eyes are going to be, me personally, all eyes are going to be in Alabama. Really, you got this good draft kick now. Can you turn it around? Because Georgia's not going nowhere, it looks like. And Michigan, unless Harbaugh leaves, man, Michigan look like they're gonna be for real. You know, Ohio State is always for real.
Yeah.
LSU is gonna be
Ohio
back.
State. Yeah.
Yeah. LSU is gonna be back. So, and then the fact that now USC and UCLA are jumping to the Big Ten, man, it's the wild, wild west in college football, which I love it. But I mean, Alabama's the one that should have the bullseye on it, because if Nick Saban is not able to flip that program around, will it start to becoming the end of Nick Saban's era? Because, you know, Nick Saban's not no spring chicken no more. He's not a young guy at all, you know, and his program's, you know, been successfully great. But if he can't sustain the recruits and get those guys to play at a high level, it's going to be something different. You know, it's going to be something different.
He's going to have to win more games next year, and he's going to have to be at a more prominent bowl next season.
Well,
right? He's just going.
No, he has to be in the playoffs. He's going to have to make the playoffs regardless.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and that's why he was crying. We need to expand the playoffs.
Yeah.
We need to expand the playoffs. Well, we know, because you know you ain't going to be in it the way you keep going. So yeah, you're right.
He's not going to be playing, right? Yeah.
So, but I mean, you got to understand. Notre Dame, their top quarterback will be back after tearing his knee. He'll be back. So Notre Dame will be back up there. There's going to be a lot of really good teams there that's coming out. But I think all eyes was going to be on Alabama again, because he set the tone so high of success. If he's not able to achieve that anymore, or if it starts to decline like it did this year, I think Nick Saban might, you know, I don't know if he'll bow out just right now, but I think not to write it on the wall, but he'll start to kind of figure out maybe it's time for me to maybe slip away a little bit, because I'm not having the success I've had this before.
I got you. Cheryl, I see you talking about she doesn't know all of the sports, but she loves us going back and forth. It's all good. Now Cheryl is a fan of soccer, right? The OG football, not just American football stuff. So we're gonna end with this story. We just gonna, you know, give some shouts out, some homage to the man who everybody knows, Pele, right? So Pele is unfortunately not doing well. He is being instructed by the hospital and his family to maintain his stay in the hospital over Christmas due to his kidney and cardiac cancer situation that he's going through. So our thoughts and prayers with Pele and the legacy that he had. And, you know, it was good to see images of him during the World Cup. Right, when we thought Brazil was going to try to do something and they were going to get a little bit further, but they didn't. But it was good to see the guy who, before David Beckham, before Bend It Like Beckham, the guy who our generation, the 40, 50, however year olds, started looking and paying attention to soccer. So Pele, man. So again, much love to him and prayers to him in his trials and tribulations here as he's going through this situation. So.
Yeah, man. Can't that big C? The cancer is the worst thing ever. Yeah. I hate cancer. But you know what? You know, Pele, the greatest to ever do it. Not Messier, not all these guys everybody talking about. Pele is the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah.
And if you don't, I mean, I know they got some YouTube stuff on there. If people don't believe me, they need to go watch that, and also watch his movie. That movie they made kind of about his life when he came out. Pele. It's called Pele. I think the dude was just. He epitomized Brazil, right? He's the guy that, you know, that's Brazil's hero for all sports, for everything. He's the Michael Jordan. He's their Michael Jordan.
Like the
way we praise Michael Jordan, he's their Michael Jordan. And Muhammad Ali and everybody else all rolled up in one. It's Pele. So
That's true.
The greatest to ever do it, man. I wish him the best, and I hope he can get through this. But, you know, prayers for his family to have strength for him.
That's true. Listen, we got a couple more stories. We're going to save them until next time. I wanted to talk a little bit about the NBA Hall of Fame nominations that came out. We got a couple of folks. We got D. Wade. We got Dirk Nowitzki. We got Popovich being announced. And, you know, they're just nominees. They're not actually, they haven't got their jackets yet. They haven't got their bust made. But again, it's pretty cool to hear those three iconic figures, you know, those players and that coach get the recognition that they belong in the hall. It's going to happen, and it's just good to hear that the committees and all have actually put them on the list. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later on. So next week is you know it's Christmas, right? So we not gonna
man.
We not gonna. I hope you got all your shopping, brother, because
I'm going tonight, brother, man. As soon as we get off this phone call, I'm going tonight. You know, the mall.
You've been hitting the mall in like 10 minutes, huh?
Yeah.
All right, brother. So we may not, folks, do a session next week on the 28th. We will see. You know, Montel is busy, so he's always jet setting. He's probably already got airline tickets to Minnesota or, you know, Florida, Bahamas. I don't know, but we'll catch
No.
up. That being said, if there is something breaking, we will probably do some short content so we can at least share it with you guys and get some things out there so you're not left in a lurch. Dr. Allen, take us home, man.
Yeah. You know, like you said, holiday season, man. Please, everybody, reach out to your family and friends and your loved ones. Let them know that you care about them. You don't have to give them no gifts, man. I think just that simple acknowledgement, asking how they are, how they doing, and I was thinking about you is more than enough to give people that power to kind of keep it moving forward. It's gonna be, as great as things that are going for a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are down. You know, a lot of homeless people. A lot of people that are going through, like you said, mental health issues that we always talk about all the time. They're just people that's going through some struggle, life-changing struggles. I think it's okay for them to hear your voice, man. I think we need to, do a little bit better. You know, don't keep to yourself so much, man. Share that love to some people out there, man. I think everything will be okay. Merry Christmas to everybody. We love you guys. Thank you guys for all your support. And all we ask is for you to spread the love, spread the link to somebody else, and shoot those topics to us, what you guys want to hear, man. We're here to talk about it. So get comfortable having those uncomfortable situations. I'm saying be comfortable having those uncomfortable conversations, and we out.